What's going on? What's going on? Happy Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day. My name is Courtney. Welcome to the Not Your Average Lifestyle podcast. Thanks so much for being here. I really got to work on my intro. I don't have one that I just could just get into, and I really need to work on that. But I'm not going to waste much time with that. Before I get started, I definitely want to take a moment and send my love, and positive, loving energy to all those affected in the shooting in D.C. this weekend. I didn't even know about it until I got back from the D.C. area yesterday, and it was just very disheartening to be a part of something that was so great down in that area, and then to kind of have it and on the day that it happened like that. My thoughts on gun violence, I really don't want to get too much into it because I feel, when you start getting into gun violence, it takes me into an area that I'm really not comfortable with. But what I will say is, if you've been following me, if you know me, one of the things that I always talk about is how pro-action is always better than reaction. I truly 100% believe that. And I know that we've talked a lot, especially in the past year, about gun laws and having stricter gun laws. And I agree that we do need to take a look at gun laws. But what I will say this, gun laws are not going to stop gun violence. Will they stop particular forms of gun violence? For sure. I shouldn't even say stop. Will they have a positive effect on certain forms of gun violence? Of course. But it's not going to stop it. I think that we need to start taking a better look at not just about what happens after the fact. I think we need to start taking a better look at the proactive part of this situation. And my question is just, what are we doing for these individuals who have this much hate and this much recklessness in their minds and their hearts? What are we doing so that people don't get to that point of life? What can we do better to influence the mental aspect of these individuals who feel like there's nothing left to do but to end someone else's life or multiple people's life, anybody's life? What can we do about that? That's my question, right? The person who starts to talk more about that part, I can get behind that person, right? They have my support. And that's all I'm going to say about gun violence. I wanted to do this episode actually over Juneteenth weekend, but I was really hoping that the opportunity would come organically and, I would just get into it. I brought my equipment down and everything, but the opportunity didn't present itself, and I'm not mad about it. I think that I really did a great job of trying to stay in the moment, having a good time with who I was with, and really soaking up the experience of being down in D.C. For those who don't know, I was in D.C. for the Something in the Water Festival, and it was a great time. Before I really get into what I wanted to talk about, I thought I would give a quick recap on my time at Something in the Water. I was thinking about it on the car ride back. Me and my friends were discussing some of our favorite times. I had a couple clients who've asked me, about my favorite moments, and I thought I would share what some of my highlights were from the festival. I just got to bring it here so I can kind of go day by day. All right, just give me a second here. All right, great. All right, so we got there Friday. And the first person that I got to see, we actually got there late on Friday. We didn't take into account the amount of traffic there would be. So We drove down. By the time we got to our hotels and then got back to the DC area, we didn't get there, I believe, till around maybe 7 o'clock. And fortunately, at that time, Toby and Igwe was still on the stage, and I was so happy that he was still on the stage because I truly thought that I had missed him. He was supposed to go on around 5:45, so I thought getting there at 7, he definitely wouldn't have been still performing, or we would have missed him. But he was, so I was able to catch a large portion of his act. He and his group, family, everyone that he's involved with was just awesome. I love the energy. I love the vibe that he gives up. I love that he's so close with his family. He had his little girls on stage at the end, and it was just really, really dope, really dope. And I was thinking about it when we talked about it yesterday about my favorite performance. I didn't even mention Toby and Igwe, but he actually is in my top 3 favorite performances. He definitely was. He had great energy, great. He had dancers on the stage. Everything went so well. He was one of the artists who stopped his show. There was people passing out a lot at Something in the Water. They didn't take into account that heat on Friday, and he stopped the show. I know at least once that somebody needed attention. He just did a great job on stage. So yeah, Toby and Igwe was great. After him was Lucky Day that night. He was also amazing. Great job, Lucky Day. I think his stage presence is great. Great performer. He was singing. Awesome show. I think he felt a little rushed, and I feel like they were behind schedule. So I kind of feel like his set was a little rushed, but nonetheless, he did a fantastic job. After Lucky Day, I missed Little Baby, which I was a little upset about, but I've seen Little Baby before, so it wasn't a big deal. And also, I missed Moneybagg Yo, but I feel like Moneybagg Yo is young enough that I'll bump into him at some point and see him live. From Lucky Day, we went to the main stage where Usher performed. Usher was great. He did a lot of the classics. He brought Eric Bellinger out with him, and Vino, one of his artists, which was cool. Usher did great. Usher, I was joking with my friends. Usher definitely shows you the veteran of him, right? Because, we know Usher for his singing and for his dance moves, and he definitely sang. Don't get it twisted. He definitely sang, but I feel like Usher's at that point in his career where going crazy with dance moves is definitely he's on the other side of that. So he gave us he gave us some footwork here and there, a little shoulder shimmy, some hips. But yeah, that was the extent pretty much of Usher's dancing. But like I said, he did a great job. And that was the end of Friday. Saturday was another day. We got there kind of late. We kind of were figuring out our vibe, right? How we wanted to handle the festival. We didn't get there Saturday till around about, I feel like maybe 7 o'clock as well. First person we saw, I only saw 2 people on Saturday. We saw Lil Uzi Vert, who was good. He has a great following, so the crowd was very much into it. He did songs that I was familiar with. And yeah, it was a good performance. Pharrell and Friends was after Lil Uzi Vert. That was pretty much the main event of Saturday. Pharrell started it off on top of one of the screens that was there. It was a pretty cool moment. He did the Freedom song, which was cool. It was a nice shot of the Capitol building behind him while he did it, and that was pretty cool. The Friends part of Pharrell and Friends, I've heard that there's been better. I really didn't want to judge him based upon who he's brought out in the past. I feel like that's a little bit unfair. But I was expecting a little more of the Friends to be there. I believe he brought out Nori. He brought out the Clips, which was great because I feel like they hadn't performed together. I think he said they hadn't performed together in about 10 years. So that was a great moment to have the Clips there. And it was also very it was just interesting, right? The Clips are doing their songs, and I didn't realize how many of their songs, Malice, was really good. And I know he was, but it was just a reminder. He was really good. Like a lot of the songs that I'm singing with the clips, I'm not realizing I know more of Malice's parts than I do Pusha T's. And Malice killed it. He was great. Both of their stage presence was awesome. Yeah, so that was cool. He brought out Justin Timberlake. You may have been seeing the memes on him on the internet. He's another one past the prime of dancing everywhere on the stage. He was doing some dances. And actually, I think I didn't laugh as hard as I did when Justin Timberlake performed. And don't get me wrong, he was doing well. Like, the crowd was cheering him on. It was just for me, like, you know, knowing what JT used to be and, like, what he is now and, like, seeing it, he was giving me, like, a drunkard, honestly. That's really what he looked like, if you want to be honest. But he wasn't drunk. Just said he looked like one. You know what? That's not fair. He ain't like a drunkard. He just looks like somebody who maybe, like, has one too many drinks. Like who's had one too many drinks. Sorry, I don't know what else to say. All right, so that ended day 2, Saturday, and then we get to Sunday. Sunday was another one. We got there. I'm noticing a theme. Like, we got there around 7 o'clock each day, and we didn't plan on it at all, but that kind of happened. Sunday, 7 o'clock, we were able to catch Pusha T, who was great energy. Pharrell came out with them. Even though he had came out the night before with the clips, he still came out and did a lot of the songs from his new album and, you know, his obviously his older music as well. He did a great job, great energy, great stage presence. I just feel like maybe with Pusha T, the production of his set needs to be a little bit better. I could totally not know what I'm talking about, but we had this discussion. I just feel like the volume of his voice matched with, like, the music. It's like it didn't go together. When you listen to a lot of like some of the other artists who sounded like really, really good, I feel like Pusha T needed a little bit of that with his performance, but he still did a great job. 21 Savage was after him. He was probably one of my favorite performances. Not probably. He definitely was one of my favorite performances. Did a great job. If you know 21 Savage, you just know his music is just like, it just gets you there. It just gets you there. And a lot of people in the crowd were into it. So yeah, that was really good. And then the night ended, the festival ended pretty much with Tyler, the Creator, who I'm into his music. I'm not the biggest follower, so a few of the songs I didn't really know that well. But he's put a great performance on. He had extremely good visuals. His visuals was great. And the set that they built beforehand, even though it took forever for them to put it together, the set went so well with his visuals. It was just very well done. Extremely well done. Great connection with his fans. He's definitely a performer. He danced, he sang, he rapped. Yeah, just really good job. He also had a moment where he gave Pharrell his flowers, like a lot of the artists did. I really thought that was awesome. They all took time to make sure Pharrell knew how much of an influence he was to them and what they really thought about him. I really, really enjoyed that part. Pharrell is so extremely humble, so it was a lot of the times it was hard for them to give him the compliment, but Tyler, the Creator, made sure that the point got home, and I really liked that. So my overall take from Something in the Water, you know, if you're around my age and you're thinking about doing a music festival, here are my main takeaways. Number one, I will never do a 3-day music festival on like a hard surface, concrete, blacktop, anything like that, ever again. Ever again. Not happening. I'll do a 1-day festival, but not 3-day. Right? Gotta start knowing when to pick your battles. And honestly, a 3-day festival on that type of surface is very, very taxing on your body. It's very taxing on your body. And you're around a lot of people. So like sometimes you get stiff, you know, you're somewhere you can always like just stretch out and like do something to kind of get yourself moving. When you're surrounded by a bunch of people, like there's not really a lot of room to do things like that. So yeah, that part of it was very taxing. If it was like on a beach or, like Coachella is out on the grass, totally. That, no problem. But yeah, 3 days on the hard surface, not again. Not again. But overall, I had a great time. Definitely felt the love. I love seeing so many people so proud of who they were at the festival. There was, a lot of love, a lot of just like positive energy. You always have some knuckleheads no matter where you go. So like that should just be expected, to have people who, kind of don't understand the value in community and understand like just the code of community. But like I said, overall, I had a great time. I had a fantastic time with my friends. Shout them out. We had such a great time, so many laughs. So yeah, overall it was a great weekend, and looking forward to when I can do another music festival. Like I said, just not on concrete or blacktop. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about is, obviously this was Juneteenth weekend. It was also Father's Day. I think I said Happy Father's Day in the beginning. If I didn't, please forgive me. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I didn't really get to reach out to a lot of people like I did last year, but I feel like people know, like we know, right? We know us who are good parents, whether you're a dad or a mother. I feel like I still get it across that I'm proud of all my brothers and friends who are dads and who are just doing a great job, because just, the job of being a father is or parent, period, it's just one of the hardest jobs out there. To me, there's no rule book. Any rule book you put on being a parent, I feel is automatically wrong, because everybody's different. So, there's no guideline as far as handling people. It's a lot of learning on the fly. And I'm just proud of all my guys and my fellas out there who are really doing it every day. So yeah, it's nice to have these times that acknowledge what we're doing. Appreciation never goes out of style. So with Juneteenth, we know that weekend has just passed, but the energy is still here for sure. And I definitely wanted to have an episode that I kind of, give my thoughts on Juneteenth and, the vibe of, especially with this weekend, how I feel about Juneteenth and what it means to me. I think Juneteenth is a very important holiday for me, and I just want to give a little bit of background on this. I grew up very religious. One thing, and it's funny because I was kind of talking about this past weekend, how I'm so grateful for the way I grew up, because I do feel like it saved me from getting into a lot of trouble that I could have gotten into in my youth, and I'm very thankful for that. Another thing that I'm thankful about the way I was raised is it really taught me to research, to do my due diligence when it came to anything. Right? If something is getting my energy, if it's getting my participation, if I'm giving my energy towards it, I want to know what it's all about. And one thing that my religion taught me was that to do your research on holidays. So for my whole life, I'm always going back and forth with people about holidays, who celebrate them, who tell me that I should be celebrating them or whatever. Because my stance is I don't really celebrate holidays. Most holidays, I should say. I don't celebrate most holidays. And I think that sometimes it takes people aback because they might see the energy that I put into Juneteenth, but it's with much thought and much intention that I put this energy into Juneteenth. Because I feel like last year, 2021, the vibe around Juneteenth, even though we were a lot more closer to the COVID than we are now, the energy was just it felt electric, right? And it was just like everybody was talking about it. And we were just like, if it just felt like we were like there was a lot of momentum that was going towards it. I don't know what happened, but I just didn't feel that same energy this year. And I could be wrong. I wasn't in my normal routine. I wasn't home. So maybe it was just because of my location. But I just want everyone to be very, very careful with turning a holiday into just a Hallmark holiday. I don't want Juneteenth to become a Hallmark holiday where it's like, every year we search for stickers and hashtags and T-shirts, but we aren't truly reflecting on what the holiday means. And that's why I don't celebrate many holidays, because they turn into something else, right? And I'm not going to attack holidays now, but I'm just giving I want people to really get a more understanding as to why I'm so passionate about this. So yeah, I just want people to really reflect on the day, right? If Juneteenth is something that you observe, that you take seriously, I really want you to reflect on the day that a group of people finally found out that they were no longer a part of something that most likely to them, they probably thought that everybody was still under this. And they were the only group of people who found out that this former form of slavery had been truly abolished, even though slavery was going to continue. And we all know. But a form of slavery that they had known, that was known to them, was no longer around. Like, reflect on that, on what that meant to them, and on what it means that we are not free unless we all are free. It's not just a catchphrase. The Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. Like almost 100 years later. Think about what the Declaration of Independence stands for. What it was supposed to stand for. And it took almost 100 years later, like close enough, until the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. Great. Hold on. There's still another 2 years after that until what was supposed to happen in the Emancipation Proclamation actually went into effect for everyone. Reflect on that. And then when things happen in this country where there are laws, there are rulings that happen, and then the United States goes back on their word, or something gets overruled, and then we wonder, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. What's happening? Just look at your history. History is a big teacher. It repeats itself until it is addressed. So those are my thoughts on Juneteenth. It was a great day for me to reflect. And I did a lot of reflecting this weekend. A lot of reflecting on who I want to be, on who I want to, who I want to come across as, on who I care, who I come across to as. Yeah, a lot of thinking about that. It was a great weekend, and I had a lot of conversations with people over the weekend that really helped me. That really helped me rejuvenate, like to recover, to like feel refreshed. I came back from the trip and I was telling my friend, like, I actually feel good, right? You would think coming from a three-day festival, I'd be tired, beat up. I felt good. I felt refreshed. And that was intentional. I went into the weekend telling myself that I was going to come back from this trip refreshed looking forward, different attitude, adjusted attitude going into the future. And it happened. And I'm thankful for that. Truly thankful for that. All right. We're going to wind this down, but I definitely want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a while, and it's kind of, I don't want to say a touchy subject, but it's something that I had to really think about how I wanted to convey it. And just like recent events have really, recent events have really made me think about it more. And one of the things that I kind of starting to realize is sometimes you just have to say things and trust that people know you and believe in the type of person you are. So I'm just going to come out and talk about it. I know that in this time of things, there is a lot of attention paid to people being comfortable with who they are and their lifestyles and their appearance. And I want to make clear that I am 100% in support of all types of positivities. Body positivity, everything. I'm very big on inclusion. If you have trained with me, if you've done any of my classes, you know that. And once again, I just want to make sure I'm clear to really make the point that no matter what lifestyle you're living, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as your actions don't hurt anybody, please feel free to do what makes you happy. That is within your right as a human being, and I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't. What I do want to talk about is we as a people, and especially in our community, is something that I have talked about before. Being more vocal about unhealthy lifestyles. Yeah. Us being more vocal about unhealthy lifestyles. While I'm for body positivity and all these things, I'm not for condoning lifestyles that will be a detriment or that will harm a person in the long run. And I think of my good friend, my dear friend, beautiful black sister, black nutritionist. I've interviewed her before, and I think about what she says. And she talks about, she's a very big an activist for body positivity and also for education as far as nutrition goes. I think she's doing some amazing work. She always talks about how the healthcare system has failed the black community, and that's why we are dealing with so much as far as the health of our elders, for our older ones as they get older. And I do agree with that to a point. I do believe that healthcare for our community should be better. I think healthcare in America, period, needs to be better. We all know that. We don't need to get into that. But I think about it, right? I think about that statement. And here's the part that I would like to add to that. I'm a fitness lifestyle coach. All right? Most of you would say I'm a personal trainer. I don't really like that title, but okay. This is not covered under healthcare, right? I'm not what most people would think of as healthcare. And I wouldn't even want to put myself on the same pedestal as a doctor, right? Because there's just certain things a doctor is going to be able to do for you that I can't do. But if anybody wants to sit up here and tell me that I have not, and there's countless other trainers, fitness coaches, whatever you want to call it. If you want to say that we have not had a positive effect on somebody's life, if you want to say that we have not proactively saved a lot of lives, then you're kidding yourself. So, what I'm saying by all this is that, yeah, maybe our healthcare is failing, but there is still a large majority of us who, when we see our peers, our family, going in a direction that we know, right? We don't have to tiptoe around this, right? One thing I realize as I get older is life comes at you fast. And if you're a younger one and you are watching this, that is like what I really want you to get out of this. Life will come at you fast, laser fast. And, things will be great 1 second, and the next thing you know, like your whole life is turned upside down. And this is not to be sad. But what it is to say is that if you, by your words, by your action, by your encouragement, can have a positive effect on somebody to help them make a change that will, in the end, or it could be something that could save their life, their well-being, and save the agony of maybe saying goodbye too soon, the agony of having them be in a situation where they can't get the best out of life. If some words of encouragement, if some action, if some time spent, just a little bit of positive energy can help change that in anybody who is around you, how valuable is that? So I'm saying all that to say, I know we live in a world where we all want to be felt like we are doing a great job. We all want to be made felt that what we're doing is okay, that it's enough. And I'm not saying this to discourage anybody, right? If you're trying your hardest, if you're doing your best, then yeah, that is good. That is enough. This is for those who know that they could be doing better. These are for those who know that they could be doing something more, something that could truly help change someone's life, that could truly help save someone's life. So that is the challenge that I'm giving to everyone, right? We have these challenges. Like, this is the challenge that I'm going to present. I want you to just really think about that. And when you do see actions, when you do see a lifestyle that like I said, we're adults here, we're grown. Some of this is not knowing, but I feel like at a certain point, we know the facts. There's a lot of information out there that we all have access to. So if your words, if your actions, if your time, if your energy can help to make a positive change, can help to save someone else's life, I really encourage you to do so. I really encourage you to do so. I just feel like as a people, period, we need to look after ourselves more. And I always say, I feel like this pandemic showed a lot as far as the current state in health of America. And I was not comfortable with the condition that so many of our older, elderly ones, later in life ones, I was not comfortable with the condition, with the shape that they were in. And I know that's where I'm headed. I know that's where my friends are headed. And like my gang, my squad, my family, I'm trying to see this thing out to the end. And I want all of us to get to that mountaintop together. I know it sounds corny, You could think I'm full of it, but like I said, if you know me, you know how I really feel about this situation. So that's all I'm gonna say on it. I hope that these words will move you to just a little bit of action or a lot of bit of action. And I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share my videos. I'm really gonna try to be more consistent with what I put out online. I hope everyone understands that this is like not just the easy thing for me to do when you're working and you're also trying to do a podcast. And I'm somebody that believes a lot in things being organic. So sometimes I just don't want to like sit down and like, talking to a camera. But I felt very passionately about what I was talking about today. And I'm really trying to give a little bit more insight to the people who take time out of their busy day and their busy lives to tune in and click on my videos. So once again, I'm thankful. Once again, my name is Courtney, and you've been watching the Not Your Average Lifestyle podcast. I'll see you next time.